This is coming to you from the campsite in Wrocław. Indeed, I was going to actually walk outside of the campsite because the weather's so nice, but I think I'm just going to walk up and down in here. So today I am it's stuck. What's stuck? Today this is my new gimbal. I haven't quite yet learned how to use it. This is the very first time that I've gone out with this gimbal, and so it's the first use, and I've just realized I don't know how it works, and I had a quick look, and then thing is, it doesn't work the same as my last one did. It's different, so I hope there'll be no problems on the gimbal front. Anyway, today what I wanted to talk about was something which is down here, which I'll show you right now. It's I've got the I've probably set the thing up wrong because I noticed the gimbal's in the way. Anyway, it's water, and so there we go. This is where the water dump is here, and so there we have the sewage thing. So for those that don't know how these things work, what you do is you take your cassette and you open this thing here. I won't open it now, mind you. Probably the last person who used it was me. You've got other facilities here, such as you've got a way of here you sort of rinse your cassette out, and then here and that's for rinsing the toilet dump out with, and that's where the waste water goes into something like this. And this is a quite sort of a standard operation. They look like this in most places. So that's what I want to talk about. And anyway, the question is, how much water do you have to take with you when you go anywhere? Now for me, I like to take a lot of water with me because I've got this thing about water anxiety. So that's what we now say about electricity. One of the reasons against electric vehicles is the electric anxiety, running out of electricity, and I worry about running out of water. And it has happened to me before. I can't say it's never happened, but only on a couple of occasions have I run out of water. The reason I ran out of water was because I was at a place too long, and then I didn't really have the opportunity to find anything. Now, first place is, where do you get water from if you're wild camping? Obviously I'm here now, and when I travel, if I know I'm going to a campsite, I don't put water in the vehicle. But if I'm at a campsite and then I go somewhere, I fill up, and I've got spare canisters, I've got stacks of water on me. Particularly in the summer, I'll be washing myself 3 times a day, and whereas the tank is, when you buy the vehicle, that you can keep drinking water in the tank, and you can put stuff in the tank to keep it drinkable, but after a time, maybe you shouldn't really drink it. Now, there are all sorts of things for keeping your water tank safe, such as, I think it's silver oxide or something like that. But you can buy, there's lots of companies that actually sell the things. I think got little couple of drops or something as well you can put in, and so that would keep the water drinkable. Also electric methods as well, so a 12-volt system, and it somehow keeps the water clean and drinkable. But it's something which I think perhaps isn't all that necessary in my case, because I keep separate drinking water from the water which is in the tank. I mean, it stands to reason. I mean, you've got a tank there, and sometimes it's hot water, and sometimes you may be taking it from where the water stood, so you don't know bacteria and whatever you might be bringing into it. So I tend now to drink, I keep things separate. Now, the question is, how much water do you need? So having one thing you might notice if you buy a new vehicle is within the European Union, and what there's there's a law, I think a law, whatever the word is, law, yes, that's it, from 2012, which states that when vehicles are sold, then they have to put the weight on, which shows the weight of the driver, which 75 kilos is allowed, and then you've got all of the fluids and what have you have to be included, and you have to have a certain amount of 90% of fuel. And so this is quite difficult with the motorhomes, because now what they've started doing, because of this thing here, they've started putting in, for example, it's 100 litres, then in brackets 20 or 15 or 10, and that one in brackets, that's the get round the law. So you say, well, the water tank only takes 10 litres when you're actually in motion, and this is how they keep it below 3.5 tons, or to pretend they've got a payload which is bigger than what they really have. Now, I need to do another separate video on this sometime, maybe when I be at a trade fair, and to explain the law. I did actually get it out, and so I could look at the wording of it to try and understand it better. So I think that for me, I want as big a tank as possible. Now, of course you could, if you have a vehicle built to order, then one should calculate how much water one needs per day. So if you had something which was built to order, of course you could order a 7.5 ton vehicle and take 5,000 litres with you, and then that wouldn't leave you much space for anything else. But you could do that. Well, the thing is like this though, you've got to find the happy medium, and this is, as with all things motorhome related, it is a compromise. Now, I remember when I was at school, and it was said that at the time that the average person used 90 litres of water a day, and I suppose that's for everything you actually do. I mean, perhaps that's not a fair way of putting it. If indeed it is 90 litres, maybe that includes things indirectly for the food you use and all the rest of it. I find the following is that when you're in a vehicle, then you need to be very careful on how you use the shower. I have heard of situations where people, and directly I heard this from someone who his wife went into the shower. She didn't even go into the shower. She put the water on and let it run. Then by the time she got round to getting in the shower, there was no water left in the machine. So she let 100 litres or whatever was inside the vehicle just run out. Now that may have taken must have been quite annoying for everyone else. You've got to be really, really careful. Now, I know as well, if you want the shower to be hot, and then there is this gap between the tank, and by the time it comes to the boiler, and then from the boiler to the tap, and so the first bit of water that comes out is going to be cold, always, irrespective of how much you may have heated it up inside. So the thing is though, it's to be very, very careful on water use. So I mean, in my case, I'll put the water on me, not too much of it, then soap, and then get it off, and I might even repeat the process. The one of the downsides to this, and maybe this is just me, I don't know if it's other people as well, so if it's other people as well, then maybe you could actually say something, it's you as well, is with, I'm certain I use more soap than I would do anyway, and the pipes, I'm always going about filters on the drainage holes, and I believe very strongly, therefore, this could be soap, amongst other things, which is blocking up the pipes. I think that is a distinct possibility. Of course, I've never measured how much soap I use at home, in a house, and how much I've used in the vehicle. That's just an idea. So if anybody else has got any ideas on that, please do write them down. Now, if I think the following, one of the problems with, you get these vehicles which can take a lot of people. And these things like sleep 6, sleep 8, well, I've said a number of things against them in previous videos. No, there's always somebody in the comments section who'll criticize me or something. But the fact of the matter is, if you're sleeping 8 people, sleeping 6, even just sleeping 4, and you've got a 100-litre tank, that doesn't tend to get you very far, particularly if the people that you are with are not particularly careful with the water. And so another thing is, of course, is the toilet cassette. The toilet cassette is more or less standard, more or less, I mean, there's several sizes of them, but you know, around 17 litres, 15 litres, sometimes 20 litres. Plus, minus, of course, the water you've got to put in anyway with the toilet fluid. So, if you want to live off the grid, and we often talk about electricity, but it's not really electricity, which is the problem. The problem, I think, is more one of water. Now, when I go to events such as Abenteuer and Allrad, and we've got this fantastic camping site there, and you see all these vehicles from all over the place, and some of them really hardcore off-road things. Many of them formerly belonged to the German fire brigade, amongst others. And I think these things built to order, built specially by the people who are using them, often many years ago. But I've noticed that many tend to have water tanks, only about 50-60 litres in them. Now, I would strongly criticise anybody who wants to sort of knock around in the Sahara how they are, how they're going to manage with such a small amount of water in a situation like that. Most motorhomes have around 100 litres in the tank, approximately, in the freshwater tank. Never mind the grey water tank, because I don't think grey water is all that difficult to actually get rid of. But in the freshwater tank, and therefore one has to sort of measure the distances until that's going to come again. Now, when you get water again. Now, in some countries, you find public fountains all over the place. For example, in Italy, in Spain, in France, there are fountains. You can get water. It might be difficult to actually load the water up, but at least the water's there. You know you're going to get it. But there's other countries, such as Germany, where you do not find, or the United Kingdom, where you do not find public water. Now, one place you can always get water from is from cemeteries. And you may not like the idea of taking water from the cemetery. The water is probably coming from either A, the mains, or B, a deep well. So if it's coming from a deep well, then you may not like the idea of taking it from a cemetery. But presumably it's drinkable. Having said, I've been drinking the stuff now for a number of years, and I'm still here. So how can I answer the question? I believe that I'm using in the summer around 10 litres a day, maybe even less, and that's washing myself 3 times. My journeys are to a large extent determined by availability of water, more than anything else. I mean, with the electricity, I'm self-sufficient from March to October, and so that's it. I do appreciate that this is something which differs from all sorts of people, but you can get around it by using canisters, and these canisters aren't particularly expensive, and so you can put them in the vehicle. Bear in mind, of course, that 1 litre is approximately of water is approximately 1 kilo, approximately. Oh, not almost exactly, in fact. So you know, if you take a couple of 20-litre canisters with you, so that's an extra 40 litres. I suppose, what's that, 2 electric bikes, well, not even, and it might extend your range. So from that point of view, to have a bit of spare water in the back is always a good thing. I always try to have a spare canister of diesel in the back, So that could be it. Okay, and he says hair clogs, drains and campers along with water problems. Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, hair clogs, drains in domestic situations as well. And I mean, I don't know why, but my bathroom always seems to be, the shower, it always seems to have bits of things inside there. And I don't know if I'm bringing them in or if they're falling in, because okay, the windows are often open as well. Or maybe things fall off my body and get into the pipes. And the problem is, of course, is the pipes are not as big as domestic pipes, and things get stuck. And then, okay, the first thing to do is to try, you put very hot water, almost boiling water, into the pipes. That's the first thing to do to clear them out. If that doesn't work, then there are some preparations, but you've got to be careful, because it depends on how the pipes actually are, because not all preparations, well, they'll work, but they might unblock the pipes, but they might take the pipes with them. So one has to be careful on that. Anyway, good. So that was that one. I got the question. Somebody asked me about how much water do you need, and I don't know if I've answered it. In the summer, I would fill up the maximum, unless I know that there's going to be water. I'm going to a campsite where there's going to be water, but as I usually am off campsite, then I don't. I find water like fuel. I like to know it's there. I like electricity as well. I like to be prepared. You know, there's nothing more annoying. Well, sorry, there are no more annoying things, but one very annoying thing is when you have to buy drinking water from somewhere to wash yourself in, because you can't get normal tap water or whatever, well water to wash yourself in. When I say well, I must point this one out as well, because particularly in the UK, I might have a different idea of what a well is. Countries like here in Poland, I mean, in the countryside, it's quite normal to take water from wells. I mean, it's checked regularly. I mean, this campsite, the water comes from the mains, but there's plenty of campsites where it comes from wells. And it isn't a well where you sort of pull the bucket up with you. I mean, there are places. A friend of mine still has one of them in a garden, but the well's been sunk and the water comes out. So that's when I refer to wells. In fact, in Warsaw, they've got these. There's a special water area. You get this water from there. Apparently, it says the science thing goes off after 2 days, and certainly does form a lot of sediment is formed. But that's one of the places the water comes from. Okay, thanks very much for listening. I am here in Wrocław. This is Camp for You, and I shall be staying here for at least 2 weeks, more, possibly longer, probably longer. I've still got quite a lot of stuff to do here, and as you can see, this is the autumn in Poland. It's a lovely sunny day. You can see what I'm wearing, because that might make the point. There's a t-shirt, and I've got a light jacket over it, so it's still, the weather's not too bad, and it's now in the afternoon. It'll be dark in an hour's time, or something like that, hour and a half's time. So and there's my motorhome. There's my home directly behind. So, and oh yeah, once more, I showed this in the live the other day, but I'll keep on showing it, because I'm quite pleased. This thing here, did an experiment now with this. This is a 160 watt solar panel, and today it charged a 500 watt battery. It was almost at zero, almost, but not quite. I mean, that was quite impressive. 4th of October, not bad, eh? So thanks very much for being here anyway. Also, another question, When's it best to empty your fresh water tank before winter? Yeah, good question, Robert. Empty your tank out as soon as you take it. When you leave it, you know you're not going to take the vehicle out. And look, if you take the vehicle out again, so what? You have to load it up. But it's best to do it, I think, whenever you get back. I would suggest people did it now. The point is this: it is a bit of a hassle if you decide to go out for the weekend, and when it's still got you've got to load the water up again. But it's better than forgetting about it and having one of the pipes burst, as I had last year, for example. So well, I didn't forget. I thought I was going to be using it again, and I didn't. So I should have emptied it out. So really, my opinion is empty it out. Empty it out today, okay? If you don't think you're going anywhere again, empty it out now. And over the winter, if you can, and I do appreciate things are expensive, but try and heat the inside of your van if possible. Doesn't have to be heated very high, but if not, there's all sorts of things go wrong inside with it if it's not heated. So if you can, keep it heated. It's a bit different for me because I live in it, so there's heat from me. Okay, thanks very much for being here today. All the best from me. Camp for you, campsite, Wrocław, Poland. So, bye.